Good morning. In this session, we are discussing the continuation of secretory tissues. Here, you can see the second secretory tissue is named as internal secretory tissue. In the previous session, what we understand that secretory tissue, the first one is external secretory tissue. They are glandular trichomes or stinging hairs, digestive glands, and the nectaries. Here you can see the second one is internal secretory tissue, and of course it is not epidermal or subepidermal in nature. Somewhat this is internal. Internal means internal to the plant body, not only in the peripheral epidermal system, but in the cortical tissue system, that is in outer to the vascular tissue and inner to the epidermal tissue system. So that is why it is internal. Okay. And here the internal secretory tissue. One of the example is there is a lot of internal secretory tissue or different types of internal secretory tissue which is organized or differentiated in plants or in various species. But here one of the example is laticiferous tissue. Laticifer means it is latex. The latex is usually either white or milky white in color, or colorless, or even yellow or brick brownish red color, also seen in different species or different varieties of plants. Okay, of course here the laticiferous tissue, the example is the common or general example is the particular type of tissue is differentiated into 4 BSA members. You know that one of the commercially important rubber producing or latex producing plant is Hevea brasiliensis, the para rubber. And here we can see the laticiferous tissue. It is the latex secreting tissue. What are laticiferous tissue? It is the latex secreting tissue, which is called laticiferous tissue. And they are specialized structures, and these are special kind of tissues concerned with segregation and conduction of latex. So the secretory tissues are concerned with the segregation or excretion of the waste materials or elastic substances in plants which produced during the metabolism. Okay, here latex is also similarly which produced during metabolism, and of course it is with a varied type of content in laticiferous tissue which produce the latex. And normally we can see the latex is a viscous fluid, and they are called the emulsion or suspension of a number of compounds. Suspension means it is a suspension which contains some more substances. And here we can see the substance or the latex which is produced from the latex tissue. Of course, it is with the proteins are there, and sugars are there, enzymes are there, gum or resins are there, tannins, terpenes, essential oils, waxes, alkaloid, malate or oxalate crystals are there. So here one of the informal information in connection with latex, while you are go for an open field to collect some taxonomic specimens, while the plant or the species which show the presence of any sticky fluid or some sticky substances, either it is colorless or colored, milky white in nature, or other yellow or brown colored fluid. Definitely you can make precaution to avoid while touching the latex. After that you cannot be you must be avoid to touch in your eyes or in your skin, because these secretory tissues are sometimes causes some irritation or itching level, or otherwise in one of the example like in coming under FOBSC, there is mangrove species. Actually, it is mentioned in the Benthamatus flora and also Campbell's flora. It is commonly named as, or generally it is indicated as blind tree, because it is with the colorless fluid, colorless latex which is produced by the plant while touching with the latex, and after that, if supposed to be you touch in your eyes, your your eyes become completely or totally blind within time. So such property is also always seen in the latex producing plants. So coming to here, the anatomical level, the laticiferous tissue which produce the latex. Okay, it is a secreting tissue, or it is a secreting substance, and the latex is that includes so many proteins. What I already told you, so many proteins are there, so many crystals are there, or some types of enzymes are there, and which makes the previously said problem to the other organisms. Okay, coming. The tissues are formed by the fusion of cells. How these tissues are formed? That is, laticiferous tissues are formed. It is by the fusion of cells to form a vessel. So, as in the previous case, that is external secretory tissue. You can see there is a group of tissue or group of cells organized in a particular fashion or in a manner which develops or differentiated as the secretory tissue. But while coming to laticiferous tissue, of course, it is formed by the fusion of cells. Some cells togetherly connected, particularly end-to-end connection, which makes the vessel-like structure or tubular vessel means tubular-like cells. And generally, it is indicated that the structural differentiation or the about the fusion of cells, the laticiferous tissue is differentiated into two types. That is, one is non-articulated laticiferous tissue, and the other one is, second one is articulated laticiferous tissue. It is of fusion of cells. How the cells are getting united. First, by coming to non-articulated or otherwise such tissue is otherwise called as latex cells. So there are a group of cells organized and form the laticiferous tissue, which is called non-articulated laticiferous tissue. Here you can see the structure of this non-articulated or latex cells. It is the cells are long, tubular, branched or even unbranched living cells, which together or collectively to form the non-articulated laticiferous tissue. And coming to the second one, articulated laticiferous tissue, or otherwise it is called latex vessels. Here it is the nature of arrangement of cells are entirely different or somewhat different from the previous one. That is, here the non-articulated articulated laticiferous tissue is by the fusion of many cells, and which are formed the vessel-like structure and which show the end-to-end connection also. So such a differentiation or anatomical differentiation is seen in these two types of laticiferous tissue which is produced in plants. That is, one is non-articulated or latex cells, or articulated or latex vessels. Okay. So here you can see the structural differentiation in the diagram. Non-articulated means the in between the cells, that is internal to not only the epidermal level or hypodermal level, to the internal tissue of the plant body, which show such tubular branched structures which possess latex, and they are called latex cells. And such a type of laticiferous tissue is called non-articulated laticiferous tissue. And here in latex vessels, we can see in the diagram, it is a tubular structure. It is a branched tubular structure which contains the latex or the milky fluid, and which is formed by end-to-end connection of different or more number of cells to form such latex vessels. Okay, and which is called articulated laticiferous tissue. Okay, then here the second type of internal secretory tissue or secretory tissue, which is One of the examples latticeferous tissue with such a specialization of cells and the organization and the differentiation in their structural orientation or anatomical level. Okay, in addition to that, here one we can remember that the latticeferous tissue, particularly the latex producing plants, example like Brasilia, that is the para rubber. Here we have Braziliensis. You can see there are a particular function also. That is, the latex which is produced not only for, or latex cells or latex vessels are produced not only for the conduction of latex, but also it helps to store water in the inside the plant body. And second one, you can see it also helps to store food materials because the latex contains proteins and such different types of materials along with the latex. So it is also consumed or assumed to be the storage of food for consumption of plant in the later period. And the third one, the function is protect the plant. So the latex is not only for storing or excretion of such waste materials, but it is also help for protection of plant to avoid from external biotic or abiotic factors. Okay, and similarly, the fourth function is commercially important. So many plants or so many species of plants which produce latex in their plant body, which is commercially very important. There, one example I have already cited that. In Hevia Brasiliensis para rubber. Rubber is more commercially important and more economically valuable material which is used for making such rubber sheets or rubber products. So that is why latticeferous tissue which is present in the plant are also economically important. So these are the chief functions or importance of latex which is produced by the latticeferous tissue. So you can understand about the two different secretory type of tissues which is produced. You just recollect it and see the summary of secretory tissue. That is, there are two types of secretory tissue. One is external, second one is internal secretory tissue. And the first one, external secretory tissue, it is of 3 types, and internal secretory tissue, it is a number of types, and one of the example is latticeferous tissue, which is seen in the plant body. Okay, thank you for